Hmm. Come closer, dear. This one is about a man named Josh, 32 years old, drove with both hands on the wheel the way his wife used to tell him to. Old habit now. Everything was an old habit now. Her name was Claire. She had been gone for 4 months. A car crash on a Tuesday morning. Ordinary road, ordinary weather, the kind of day nothing is supposed to happen on. Josh had been at work. He found out the way people find out when they're not there. A phone call, a voice on the other end telling him something that rearranged every room in his life permanently. He had not gone back to work since. The money was almost gone. The apartment had too many of her things in it, and he could not move them, and he could not stay. His grandparents had left him a manor house in their will. Ashveil Manor, 2 hours north, empty, old, his. He had never planned to live in it. He had not planned on a lot of things. The manor appeared through the trees at dusk. Large, old stone. Ivy pulling at the upper floors. The windows dark and numerous and looking out at the arriving car the way windows look when they have been waiting. Josh sat in the car for a moment after he turned the engine off. He looked at the building. The building looked back. He got his bags. He went inside. He had nowhere else to go. The first night he sat at the kitchen table with a bottle of whiskey and did not unpack. The manor was cold the way old houses are cold. Not just temperature, a quality. Something that lived in the walls and the floors and the spaces between the furniture that the previous inhabitants had left behind. He poured a glass. He thought about Claire. He thought about the Tuesday morning and the phone call and the way the person on the other end had said her name and how he had known before they finished the sentence. He poured another glass. Somewhere in the manor above him a door moved in a draft. He did not investigate. He poured another. It had been in Ashveil Manor for a long time. Long enough to know patience. Long enough to know that some meals require preparation. Josh was the best kind of guest it had ever received. Already broken, already open, the grief sitting in him like a wound that had not closed and would not close. A way in that required no forcing, no wearing down, no slow work over weeks. Just presence. Just the quiet feeding that happens when something sits in the dark beside a man who is already sitting in the dark and simply adds its weight to what is already there. The shadow on the kitchen wall grew large behind him. Josh poured another glass. He did not look at the wall. Days passed. He stopped opening the curtains. The bottles accumulated on the library table where he had set up a kind of camp. Blanket on the old leather sofa, lamp on, the rest of the manor dark and shut and not thought about. He ate when he remembered to. He slept in pieces, shallow and wrong, waking at hours that made no sense with the feeling of something having been in the room while he was under. He looked worse. He felt worse. He told himself it was grief. It was grief. Copy, it was also something that fed on grief the way a fire feeds on wood, not causing the wood to exist, simply consuming it faster than it would have burned on its own. Josh was burning faster. He saw her in the mirror on the 8th day, not a vision, not a hallucination, or not only that, her face, in the old mirror in the upstairs hallway, just for a moment, just a fraction of a second. The reflection showing not Josh's hollowed face, but Claire's, the way she looked when she was thinking about something, slightly away, somewhere else. He pressed his hand to the glass. The reflection was his own. Behind his reflection in the mirror, the shadow stood, tall, horned, patient, watching him press his hand against the glass and reach for something that was not there. Feeding. Josh slid down the wall beneath the mirror and sat on the floor, and did not move for a very long time. By the second week, he barely moved. The sofa, the bottle, the ceiling. The demon did not need to hide anymore. It moved through the manor openly, through the library where Josh lay, through the hallways up and down the stairs. And Josh did not see it because Josh was not really seeing anything. The grief had gone past the sharp stage into something flatter and more total. Not the pain of it, but the absence. The way a man looks when the thing that made him himself has been slowly removed and he has not noticed because each piece went quietly. The demon stood over him. Josh stared at the ceiling. The demon was very full, and Josh was very nearly gone. It leaned down, close enough that if it had breath, Josh would have felt it. It looked at what remained of him. The thin residue of a 32-year-old man who had loved someone and lost her, and come to an old house to disappear quietly. And it reached for the last of it, the last warmth, the last resistance. The small, stubborn remainder of the person who had driven with both hands on the wheel because his wife had asked him to. Josh's eyes were open. They saw nothing. His hand lay loose on his chest. His wedding ring caught the lamplight. And somewhere, from somewhere that had no location in the room, a voice. Her voice, not loud, not dramatic, just there. The way it sounded when she said his name in the morning before either of them were fully awake. That specific texture of it, that specific frequency that belonged to nobody else and had never belonged to nobody else and was his and only his. Josh. One word. His eyes focused. The demon felt it, the shift, the small ignition of something it had thought it had already taken, and it pressed harder. Josh sat up, not smoothly, not heroically. He sat up the way a man sits up when his body has forgotten how and is remembering. Slow, wrong, then upright. He looked at the room. He saw the bottles. He saw what the room had become. He saw what he had become. He stood up. The demon came for him. Not the patient, quiet feeding of the past 2 weeks. Something urgent now. Something that had not had to move quickly in a very long time and did not like having to. The darkness rushed the room, pressed against Josh from every direction. The cold of it, the weight of it, the specific gravity of a thing that did not want to let go of what it had invested weeks in acquiring. Josh walked toward the door, one step, then another. The darkness pulled at him. His legs were wrong from 2 weeks of barely moving. The bottles on the floor, the blanket, the evidence of what the manor had made of him. He walked through all of it. He ran. Through the library door, into the hallway. The manor was dark and large and full of the demon's presence. It was everywhere, in every room he passed, pressing out of the walls and the ceiling, the horned shadow surging down the corridor behind him. Josh ran. His legs remembered. The front door was at the end of the main hall. He could see it. He hit the door with his shoulder. It opened. Cold night air. Real. The kind of cold that has no agenda, that is just weather. Just October. Just a night outside a manor house at the end of a long gravel drive with trees on either side and a sky above full of ordinary stars. Josh fell down the front steps, hit the gravel on his hands and knees, looked back at the manor. The windows were dark, no shadow at the glass, no sound, just a building, just old stone and ivy and dark windows, just a house. He knelt on the gravel for a long time. The cold came through his clothes and he let it. It was real. It was his. The sky began to go from black to dark blue to the first pale suggestion of gray at the eastern edge above the tree line. Josh looked at his hands on the gravel, his wedding ring. He pressed his palm flat against the cold ground and breathed. In, out. He was still there, thinner than he had been, worse than he had been. But there, he heard her voice again, not from the manor this time, not from anywhere outside him, from wherever she actually was, just his name, just that. He got up, he walked down the drive. He did not go back for his bags. He did not go back for the bottles or the blanket or anything the manor had absorbed over 2 weeks of him disappearing into it. He walked to his car. He got in. He drove. The manor disappeared in the rearview mirror, and he did not watch it go. The road ahead was gray and empty and real and his. He drove toward something. He did not know what yet, but toward. That was enough. That was everything. Josh got out. Barely. The thing in that manor had had him almost completely. Almost. But she said his name, and he remembered what it meant to be the person she had said it to. Humans and their grief. It cuts both ways, dear. It is the thing that breaks them. And sometimes, just sometimes, it is the thing that does not let them go. I'll be right here when you come back, in my chair, where I always am.